Have you ever been handed an amazing opportunity, but you pass it up out of fear or doubt? Well, I definitely know I've been guilty of that myself. But then I came to a point in my life where I started taking more risks. Because I'm sure you can relate to this, where you've been handed different opportunities, but you turn them down, and then you spend possibly the rest of your life kicking yourself, thinking about what could have been. But then in my head went, heck yes, let's do this. Grab your passports, we're going on another trip. Let's go! Hello everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood magician Magic Chris here. Yeah, I am actually meeting a friend for dinner in a bit. I will actually need something right now, do I? Yeah, this will do it. Around 2 years ago, one of my salsa buddies contacted me on Facebook and asked me, Chris, would you consider performing at a wedding in Sicily? Like, that's something I'm usually asked. Sicily? She put me in contact with the bride so we can talk things through. So I discovered that the bride-to-be and her fiance were both dancers. And there were actually going to be a few people at that wedding that I already knew. But this, I said, yes, I can put something together and I'd be happy to do that. So we sorted it out, they covered my flight, they covered my accommodation, which was nearby. Before we knew it, after weeks of excitement and preparations for the event, the weekend finally came where I actually flew out there. And the bride told me that a family member from the Sicilian side was offering to pick people up. And so they had my details and they had my name. So I figured, okay, it looks like someone's going to meet me at the airport. But finally, when I actually arrived at this small airport and I came out of the departure gate and I saw this crowd of people there waiting for people coming off the flight, nobody was really looking at me. But now it seemed like most of the people in the airport were gone. So I remember tipping my little travel suitcase over so I could use it as a seat, and I sat down while I just checked through my phone. And a few moments later, this young teenage boy came to me and was looking down at me and said, "Are you Chris Woodworth?" And I said, yes, I am. You should come with us. So I was like, oh, really? Oh, okay, right then. So I was like, okay, my ride's here. Yeah, he was joined by this very sweet girl I kind of figured was his little sister. So I stood up, I got my suitcase, and I followed them out of the airport because they were clearly going to a car. And they led me out to this car where the dad was waiting, and he was this very charming, very smiley Sicilian guy. So he introduced himself to me and he had the address, to my B&B, and so he was my ride. So they put my luggage, in the car, and we spoke a bit while we were on the drive to Ragusa. And the scenery was beautiful. I kept on taking photos here and there. And when we were on the way, I remember the young guy behind me in the back seat said to me, "Are you hungry?" And I said, yeah, I could eat. And they handed me this little box, and they had actually got this big slice of pizza for me because they knew that I'd probably want to eat, and they were very accommodating as well, so that was so nice. But we finally found the B&B, and yeah, nobody was answering when we knocked on the door, but yeah, the guy eventually came, so I just stayed in that room and I just went over all of the details and all of the music that I was using. Now, don't get me wrong, I take every performance seriously, but weddings in particular, I get super picky about them. Weddings are a big deal. I want everybody to be happy. So, I had a really nice sleep, I got up bright and early, and then I heard somebody come in, and I kind of realized that this lady, she was due to make my breakfast. So as soon as I came out of my room, I was met by this really smiley, elderly Sicilian woman. I said to her, my Sicilian? And she laughed and she just really understood. And she said to me, cafe or cappuccino? See, that I understood, and things went swimmingly from there. So she sorted out a really nice breakfast for me, and then she said goodbye to me, and she said to me, Buona giornata, and I simply repeated it to her, Buona giornata, and she kind of looked at me and went, and went away. I opened up Google Translate and I said into it, Buona giornata. And what came up was, have a good day. Yeah, I smiled. I just loved exploring by myself, and that was a great day. And it was such a nice wedding. It turned out really great. I truly felt blessed to be there and to be a part of it. And then all of us made our way by car or foot quite a distance to get to the venue, this old theatre where the wedding reception was going to be held. We were greeted with wine, and I was really taking it easy because I had to perform. Now, bearing in mind that I was prepping to perform for a mixture of people who could speak English and who couldn't speak English. And I'd already decided how I was going to do this. I was going to do this without talking. There was this very lovely, talented and elegant lady who was just before me who sang opera. So she gave a great performance. I even sat with my friends up on the balcony just so we could get a good view from there. And then they actually had an interval so I could actually prepare. And I came out onto the stage and I did it. The video of the full performance is actually online right now, so I'm going to include a link to that video in the description of this video. Oh, it really was memorable because I found it challenging and everyone just seemed to have a great time with it. What more could I ask for? So after my performance, everyone went out again and had more drinks, and we were served quite a bit of food, and it felt like this beautiful traditional Sicilian food, and this wine was constantly coming out of the place. It was just so nice. So during that process, I would randomly go up to people and introduce myself and perform close-up magic to them. And I'm still able to do that even if we can't speak the same language. I have my own way of doing that, really. I met so many wonderful people at that wedding. And also, I'm quite lucky that none of the parents told me off because I had actually ended my routine on stage by swallowing a really big balloon, but I did that without having told the parents to tell their children not to try this at home. I only really discovered that when my friend afterwards just kept on telling me, "You're in trouble, Chris." It didn't result in anything bad happening. So the bride and groom did a great performance as well, a great dance performance. Yeah, then we went back to more eating and drinking, and we ended up also dancing as well. It was an all-around great night. And so the very next morning, when I woke up, that very sweet elderly lady came back to make me breakfast, and it was so nice to see her again. She showed me photos of her grandchildren and her family, and she really did have a beautiful family, and you could tell that she was just this proud grandma. She loved her family so much. I showed photos of my family. I showed 1 or 2 photos from the wedding. Yes, that's how we bonded, basically. And when she was saying goodbye to me for the last time, she said to me, "Buona Domenica." So she said again with her hands, "Buona Domenica," like she wanted me to say it. So I said, "Buona Domenica." Yes, like that. And then she left. So, got my phone out, "Buona Domenica." And that meant have a good Sunday. And again, it made me smile again. So now this was Sunday, my very last full day in Ragusa. Time for me to explore. One of my missions for the day, aside from exploring, was to have a glass of wine and a pasta dish. I hadn't had pasta since I'd been there. I am glad to say that during that final day of exploring, mission accomplished. Ah, bliss. So the next morning I was due to depart from a different airport, which was about an hour away. And the guy who originally picked me up from the airport when I arrived in Ragusa, he was nice enough to pick me up from my bed and breakfast and take me to the bus stop that would take me directly to the airport. He was the last person from the wedding I actually saw on my trip. I'm forever grateful for his help and his hospitality. He has a beautiful family, seriously. And naturally, I returned home to the UK with a weekend full of memories. Getting yourself to take up amazing opportunities can sometimes be really scary. I guess sometimes if you wait too long, you end up talking yourself out of it, and I'm so glad that didn't happen to me. Because at the time I did have these random worries in my head that looking back on them now, I kind of feel they were kind of silly, really. Can I get this done in a weekend? Will it take a lot out of me? Or will I be able to succeed? Like, what if a flight gets cancelled? What if a flight gets delayed? Yada, yada, yada. You know, you come up with different things to talk your way out of it. But sometimes you just have to jump. Because if you're bold and you take that leap, for all you know, amazing things could happen. And even if nothing amazing comes out of it, you can actually say that you said yes, that you took that leap. I didn't want to have that situation 40 years later, looking back at my life and wishing that I had said yes to going to Sicily. Because it reconfirmed to me why I love travel so much. Even if it's brief and if it's one weekend, it's amazing what you can do in one weekend. The connections that I formed in Ragusa and the friends I've made out of the bride and groom. So, what amazing opportunities have you been given that you have said yes to and you're glad that you said yes to? Comment on this video, share it, I'd love to read about it. And for now, please subscribe to my social media right here, over there. There it is. Look. Guys, I have more True Stories videos coming your way soon, and I do have other exciting things coming up that I'm going to document, and I am looking forward to sharing them with you. I hope you're all well, be good to yourselves and each other. Magic Chris, out!